if you're running an excavation business, how you can get 30% more money. That's 30% more money. You've only got to be 1% better at your business. 30% more revenue for only being 1% better. I'm going to show you how the math works out, how it works out. This is how it does today. If you don't know who I am, my name is Chris. I'm here to make excavation growth easier every day. It shouldn't be hard. And if you're good at what you do, you should deserve to get more jobs. And that's what I'm here to help you with. Look in the comments as always. Look in the thing if you want to get in touch with me. There you go. Here's my website. Look, great. Let's get into the thing you actually care about. Let's talk about how you can get a whole bunch more money, so 30% more money, just by being 1% better at your business. So what I've got here is a little bit of a diagram which describes like the average excavation business, right? So let's go through this model. So it's important that you understand how the funnel works, and then we're going to show you how just 1% more can increase your revenue by 30%. Great. So here's how she works. So you've got your offer. You say you do trenching, say you put in septic systems, whatever it is. And then what happens, what this first step here is the traffic. So you're looking at, in this case, in this example, we're going to have 1,000 people that get to see your offer. Now, where can they see your offer? They can see your offer on Google Ads, Google Maps, maybe run Facebook ads. Maybe there's 1,000 people you email every week. Maybe there's 1,000 people end up seeing your offer. Maybe you door knock on 1,000 different doors. Maybe you can call up 1,000 different people. Anyways, 1,000 people that are within your target audience see your offer. 1,000 people who want to get something dug, some land clearing done, bam, get a hold of them. Out of those 1,000 people, 100 of them, so 10%, that's what this little 10% is here, from the traffic to the opt-in, 1,000 of them opt in to either talk to you, they give you their phone number, they book an appointment with you to get a quote on a pool they want to get dug up. But the point here is that of those 1,000, 100 of them actually want to have a chat with you, have a sales conversation essentially. So what that means is that that's 10%. Great. So of those 100, sales conversations that you have, 10 of them convert, makes 10%. Great. So 10% of those 100 people convert and actually decide to go ahead with the job. Great. Now, the average for all excavation companies in the US per job is $3,875. For ease of math, I've just made this $3,000. Let's make that a little more obvious, huh? Great. So you got $3,000 there. By the way, if I'm talking too slow for you, you can always speed up the speed of this video, speed it up to 1.5. Your retention is going to be exactly the same. So 3,000 average purchase size, which means 10 purchases at $3,000 gets you 30,000 revenue. Cool. So here's the magical bit. What I say at the top of this thing, we're going to increase this number here by 30% just by getting 1% better at your business. Let's do it. Here we go. Right next to it here, we've got this business, which is exactly the same as this, but it's just 1% better, just 1%. So look at traffic before and after. So traffic was 1,000. Now it's 1,100. Great. And what we're going to do is, so we've increased that. So then what we're going to do is we're going to get 1% better at converting the people that see the offer. Remember we talked about this before. 1% better at having them opt in, which means that we're going to have, instead of having 100 people, we're going to have at 10%, opt-in rate, we're going to up that to 11% just by getting a little bit better. And I'll walk through that after this about how you can get better at each one of these steps. You can get, that's 121 opt-ins. So people that want to have a sales conversation. Great. So we're going to get a little bit better again at this next little step of our business. We're going to go another 1%. So instead of being 10% there, we're going to be 1% here. So our conversion is going to be 14. Instead of getting 10 people, deciding to work with us, we're going to get 14 people to work with us. Let's just leave this purchase size exactly the same. We're not going to raise our prices. I'm sure the argument will be against this type of thing that, I can't raise my prices because whatever reason you want to have. And we can talk about that later. I think that's ridiculous, but hey, I'm even going to concede that for this example. So you're going to have 14 purchases, still at $3,000 a pop. That's going to come out to $42,000 as opposed to $30,000, $42,000, which is a 30% jump in revenue between these two. There you go, 30% difference between 30,000 and 42,000. Easy, right? And all you had to do was get 1% better at all of these steps. So instead of sitting, so what a lot of people do, they'll make a mistake, and I thought this was the way to go about it, is that people will go and focus on just one of these steps. So what will be the most common thing as a business owner? You will come in and you'll want to, just increase your traffic, get more people, because my thing, which is great, and it's a good way to move. Except you're missing out on the compound that happens here. So you can get, 100% better at this, and it's not going to have the same result by making sure that you incrementally make every one of these steps just a little bit better, as opposed to focusing on one step exclusively and making that one insanely awesome. By focusing on each one of those steps in sequence, you actually multiply your efforts. So the way this works, of course, is this 11% here is actually a multiplication. It's multiplying by, what are we doing here? So 11% is actually multiplying by 0.11. Cool. So that's how you actually get from this number to this number. By 11%, you multiply by 0.11, and same thing up here. You're actually multiplying by 10% is actually multiplying by 0.1, and the same thing here. So by focusing on each step in sequence, you're actually multiplying your efforts. So you can do less to get more out of a system like this. And that's essentially what your sales funnel is. It's a system, right? So the smart way is to focus on each one of these, get a little bit better, and then come back to the start, go again. Get a little bit better again, come back to the start, go again, get better at each step. So let's talk about, now you understand, how the logic behind this and why it works. Let's talk about each one of these little steps here and the things that you can do to make them just that little bit better, just 1% better. Oh, and before I go on to that, I think that a useful way to think about this is, and a way to execute this in your business goes simply like this. What you can do is, if you want to increase your business by 30%, we've just talked here in the video. It's a catchy one, so you say it's 1%, and then you get the 30%. But if you increase each one of these by 10%, the multiples start getting a little bit crazy. So here you go. Here's a really quick example of how, if you aim to get just a little bit more better at each one of these steps, how the multiple starts getting super crazy. So that first example was 1%. The second example, let's imagine that we increase our effectiveness at these steps by 10% extra, which is not unreasonable, to be honest with you, especially if you're starting off at such a low kind of conversion rate here of 10%, right? So let's say let's leave the traffic the same, 1,100, great. And of that traffic, 20% decide to opt into you. So remember the traffic we talked about, all those conversations. So 20% of that traffic actually wants to talk to you. They opt in, at least they go through some sort of qualification stage. So you have 222 coming through that qualification stage. Great. Now 20% of those ones that are qualified. So you get 10% better. So we're talking about 10% before. So 20% now are converting into an actual job, someone who's coming through that. So that means that you've got 44 jobs coming in. Let's keep that the average purchase size exactly the same. And look what your revenue pumps up to. It's crazy. You've only become a little bit better at each one of these steps, and it's absolutely jacked up your revenue. So what's this? This is like, what? I'm bad at math. Maybe that's 10 times. No, it's not 10 times. It's 2, 3, 4, 5 times almost. And you've just become 10% better. All right, that's all great. You understand the math. Fantastic. How do you actually go and implement this? This is the bit you actually care about. So what I would recommend is, don't try and go ham and get better at everything all at once. You can burn yourself out. It's too much to think about all at once, and you'll get discouraged and just stop doing it. What I'd personally recommend is, and I think one of the smartest way to go about this, is allocate some amount of time, be it a week, be it a month, whatever you feel like, and do these in sequence. So what you would do is you go time frame 1, so let's say just week 1. Month 1 is more reasonable. Let's talk about week 1. So week 1, your first aim is to move your traffic from 1,000 to 1,100. That's the first thing you do. So start at the top of the funnel. Then week 2, what you aim then to do is to change this opt-in rate. So you want to go from, let's say, a month maximum. So 10% opt-in rate. do things which increase your opt-in rate to 20% or even just 1% better. Here we go. Even just 1% better. So you move it from 10% to 11% opt-in rate. Great. Do that. Time frame the next. Now you've got to concentrate on moving your opt-in rate to the conversion rate. So instead of being 10%, you want to move that to 11%. That's what you do the next time frame. And then once you've got that improvement, come back, start again. Come back, start again, and you do that, arguably 10 times. So you go through that sequence 10 times, and if you're doing it once a week, 10 times, and you're just getting 1% better each one of those cycles through. Pretty quickly, you're going to make this 10% difference, and all of a sudden, your business is starting to work for you. You're not a slave to your business is starting to work for you, which is the whole aim of what I do here. So these are real stats for a excavation company. Achievable, doable. This is the process. Now let's talk really, really quickly about specific things you can do for each one of these steps so you can actually get those 1% increases. Right, first stage here. So let's look at traffic. So here's 3 things you can do to increase your traffic. There's only really 3 things you can do. So if you want to increase this from 1,000 to 1,100 every single time, there's 3 ways. Paid ads, local search, one-to-one outreach, which I could spell, wouldn't that be great? One-to-one outreach, great. So paid ads, I think you'll get that. Google ads, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. Reddit if you want to. My personal favorite, Google ads, because those people that are searching, literally type in search for excavation contractors. They're in Google. They really want, so that's going to positively affect all of your metrics going downstream. So that's why I prefer to go for them. Local search, so that's all SEO. That's Google Maps. Anything that increase, or Bing search for that matter, because now that ChatGPT is now taking some of its results out of Bing search, that becomes super useful. So local search stuff. So you increase your keywords, publish some blogs, etc. That's going to work there for you. And then of course there's one-to-one outreach. So sometimes the simplest thing to do is if you're just calling people up. Say if you're calling up other businesses, you can just call more of them. So that's how you can get that 1% increase. There comes a point where that one-to-one outreach starts to be unscalable, which is where paid ads and search starts to come in, because those things, they become scalable. You don't have to eat up all your time to do those things. Great. So now I've just addressed how you can get more traffic to look at your offer. Now let's look at the next stage. How do I increase this from 10%? How do I increase my opt-in 1 more percent? All right, next thing, let's see how you can increase this opt-in. So great, you've got your traffic up. Now here's 3 things you can do to increase the opt-in. You can basically have your offer be better than your competition. Sounds a bit trite. This is how you actually execute it. Even just describing your offer and what you do a little bit better than just we dig holes can increase your opt-in rate. So you can start to play around with how you describe what you do. And oftentimes that can really increase the opt-in percentage, the opt-in rate that people are coming in. So it can be, you do it with care, use the latest machines, maybe use a hydrovac, maybe you do it a little bit faster, those sorts of things. So those sorts of, changes to your offer. You talk about how everybody has certificates in your gang or whatever you want to do. But even just doing those little incremental things and changing around with them can actually increase the opt-in rate, just because you're convincing people a little bit better to come and choose to talk to you, waste their time, use their time to come and talk to you as opposed to talking to somebody else. Another one here is guarantees, which especially in excavation, a lot of people start to shy away from this. But let me explain it for a second. So obviously, you don't know what's going to be underneath the ground. So guaranteeing, finish times, that sort of stuff can be really, really difficult unless you're a really big operator and you can absorb, a whole bunch of costs and throw extra people at something at a drop of a dime. But guarantees, now don't forget, in this case, we're trying to get these traffic that just, see your offer. We're trying to get them to opt in and be qualified to actually have a sales conversation with you to get a quote. That's all we're trying to do. So you can offer a guarantee that you'll get them back, a calculated quote, within 48 hours, within 72 hours, in 3 days, because that's going to mean that you're guaranteeing that you're going to get a quicker response. Sometimes that can really increase the opt-in rate, and we're only looking for 1% each time here, right? I'm only looking for 1%. So something like that is really going to tip your numbers. and I should do a whole video. Tell me if you want to do a whole video on guarantees for excavation and how you can put them up and really increase the opt-in rate and also the conversion. You can even put a guarantee in here. If we'll talk about this next section. I'll talk about the guarantee that works for that. Great. And then trust building. So remember, we're just trying to get people that go, okay, they see, these guys they've got a backhoe, great, and they can dig a hole, awesome. Maybe they can do some land clearing. Why should I even contact them? So this is where trust building and reviews comes in. So by showing more reviews, showing better quality reviews, showing reviews for the specific type of job that you're showing them. So if you have reviews of you doing, I don't know, ground clearing, and you're putting an offer out there which is for septic tank removal or replacement, they're two different reviews. It doesn't kind of mesh, right? So even just changing around the types of reviews that you get and show. Or if you're door knocking, if you show someone a pamphlet, like a piece of paper that has your reviews there, or you give them your URL to your Google Maps with the reviews listed there, that's going to help your opt-in rate dramatically. Okay, great. Next one, let's work on a conversion here. Okay, let's talk about how we can increase our conversion just 1%. What are 3 things we can do? Crazy. They're almost the same as the step beforehand, right? But the number one thing that everybody just needs to do a little bit more of here is follow-up. You send that quote off, you've got to have a system in place which follows up with them. It follows up with them in a way that they're actually looking. Sending emails doesn't work anymore. You got to make sure you're calling, texting, the whole deal. You can do that manually. You can set up a system so that it actually happens every time, which is how you start getting these jumps from 10% to 20% because you have a system that actually does it all the time for you. But the follow-up is so important. A lot of jobs don't close by themselves. So adding this follow-up into your system, into your sales system, is going to easily increase this by 1%. Remember, we're only aiming for 1% here in each one of these steps. Okay, let's talk about guarantees. So guarantees, again, everyone kind of wants to find them a bit tricky, especially in excavation business. But if you can guarantee that your quote is within 30%, that's a guarantee that you can stick to. And don't forget, if you offer a guarantee, you can also have conditions around that. We guarantee that it's within 10%, 20%, 30%, whatever you want to choose. It's within that percentage. It's within that range, as long as we don't find hidden electrical wires, or we don't find some giant rock, or you don't happen to have a volcano or something underneath your backyard. You can put things in there, but essentially some sort of guarantee which takes some of the worry out of the customer's mind is going to increase your conversion rate dramatically. And again, look, trust building. So I know that we had this in the other stage here, but don't forget, time has elapsed since someone decided to get a quote from you, and then they want to actually convert. So having some material that you send to them, again, combined with the follow up, which always includes things around why you should be trusted, how you've done good before, and how your service is more quality is quality. People are happy with you. That's the other thing you can do there. So there you go, nice and simple. So 1, 2, 3 things for each one of those, and if you just do cycles of these and play with those 3 things in each one of those steps, and you can increase this number, increase this rate by 1%. You increase it by 1% every time you go through this. You're going to end up, after a few rounds, going from, in this example, $30,000 revenue to $132,000 revenue, let's say, per month. That's how it's done. It's it's all from me for today. My name's Chris. I have Little Fox Agency. You can find us at littlefox.agency. There's going to be a link underneath here. If you want to talk to me, want me to implement these types of systems for you so you can get those big jumps, and we do it smart, as I hope you see here. And I look forward to talking to you later.